the 14th day of April, and I am so glad to have with us Jackie Rowe-Adams. Jackie Rowe-Adams is a longtime friend of mine, and she was with me when I was on radio. Now we're live streaming. We only have a short time. And Jackie, thank you so much for joining us from Harlem Mothers SAVE.
Thank you. You know, I'm going to just do a little correction in there because we are fortunate now to have so many fathers to now we call it Harlem Mothers and Fathers SAVE.
I saw that on the site. I thought it was beautiful. I used the Harlem Mothers SAVE logo for you. You can't see it, but when you watch the live stream, it won't be live for you, but when you watch the video, you'll see it say Mothers, because I wasn't sure about that. But you started this organization 18, 19 years ago in the wake of personal tragedy. And as happy for you that I am that this continues, it's tragic that you need to keep doing it.
It's unfortunate that I need to keep doing it, but the need is definitely there. The need is definitely there because every day now here in New York, someone's getting shot or killed citywide.
Well, when I posted about this video, I said nobody is safe. And I was thinking of all the gun violence around the world, or I should say around the country, right? Because we're the most dangerous. I shouldn't say world, although there is violence everywhere, but in the United States. And your focus is, and there's, people can see the logo. By the way, you can go to harlemmothersSave.org at any point to learn more about this group. The name is in the description of the video. You've got the gun with a line through it. Why can't we get common sense gun control, Jackie?
And that's the question. Everybody need to be on the same page. Take politics out of this. If they stop playing politics with our kids' lives, we can get it. And that's what's happening. I'm not talking about Republicans or Democrats. I'm talking about people that sit in these seats and make decisions and do policies. They need to support. The president have several legislation on the table. They need to support that because we must stop these mass shootings. You send your child to school and your child don't come back home because of these mass shootings. You cannot go in the supermarket, in the banks no more because of these mass shootings. Stop playing politics with our kids' lives, our family lives, and do the right thing. Ban some of these assault weapons. Do what the president is doing, putting into legislation, signing into law some of these bans, whatever he's doing to help us. Please, I urge my Congress, I urge my senators, I urge the assembly, I urge the governors of these states, please get on the same page and do the right thing. We are losing our young ones. It's nobody going to be here to represent us when we are gone because everybody are going before us. So this must stop. This must stop, Hal. And as a mother who lost 2 kids to gun violence, I keep moving forward, but it hurt every day to hear that a parent is going through the same thing that I'm going through. The pain and hurt. The pain and hurt is a little too much. And on a local level, Hal, we have to stop letting the illegal guns coming into our city and our state. They're coming from I-95. People know who's coming. The elected officials know who's bringing these guns in. The guns are coming, getting into our kids' hands. Easy access to guns. Then you have the bail reform law, and that's what I've been fighting. It's all right for bail reform to be for low offense, like jumping the turnstile, smoking the weed or uh, 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 in the store, shoplifting, not robbing, shoplifting, little offense, but not when you go out there and shoot and kill somebody and you go to jail, they arrest you, and you back out in 3 hours. Unacceptable. So if the governor, the senator, an assembly person pass this law, sign the bill to put a stiffer laws on this bail reform. They have to enhance it. They have to, I'm not saying stop what you already have in place, but they have to do the right thing and put the right laws into place with this bail reform. How?
Are you happy so far with your new mayor, the former commissioner, Eric Adams of police?
Well, he wasn't the former commissioner of police. He was a sergeant on the police force. I am happy with the mayor. And you know why? Because he can't do this by himself. It takes all of us, the NYPD, okay, NYPD and the community and elected officials. It takes all of us. Is he perfect? No. Is he trying? Yes, he is trying. We have to work together with the DA, the mayor, the police, the elected officials. The elected officials is tying the mayor hands. That it really are, because some of the things he put on the table in Albany, they're not supporting the mayor. They're not giving him the money he needs. They're not signing the bills that he put forth, like raise the age. He put forth so many bills on these gun pieces, bail reform, gun trafficking. The Albany is not supporting the mayor. So we cannot blame the mayor fully for everything. Yes, he is the mayor and he's doing, yes, rats is important because I'm sick of them. So that's a good thing he's doing with rats.
Well, I just want to jump in because you're right about that. I mean, the city is as dirty as I've ever seen it. It is just awful. I mean, you cannot, and I'm talking Midtown, I'm talking the East Side. It doesn't matter where you are, the trash is just piling up. Of course, there's going to be the rats if they, you need more of those owls, like that owl in Central Park, right? I'm talking about that eagle owl falco to go out there and catch more rats.
Yes. Let me tell you, it's out of control in the city. He needs help. Is he perfect? No. But he been in there a year, going on 2 years, almost a year. It takes a whole year and a half or so to get it right. And he's going to get it right. He have a good team. He got to utilize his team that he had, and he's trying. He is. It's not trying, he is. So his team got to step up too with him. We all have to work together.
So, Jackie, you have made your name fighting for common sense gun control laws, better policing, more community response, save another violent end, right? That's what Harlem Mothers SAVE is for. Stop another violent ending. I'm sorry, stop another violent ending. I have posted while you've been speaking and I've been speaking the list of the most deadly gun violence episodes in this country for the past 30 plus years. Most of them are not in states like New York or California. They're in states including Texas, Florida, Colorado, that have very lenient gun control laws. I think in Colorado, they did tighten them up a bit in the wake of the Columbine killings there. Are you, and I know you speak to people everywhere, are you finding that there is a little bit more willingness to talk about gun safety, gun control in some of these redder states, in some of the states where the violence is even worse?
Yes, I'm finding, and I'm very, very surprised that some people that was definitely pro-gun, they were saying no, 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 but now they saying yes, yes, yes. Let's get these guns off the street. Let's do so, because too many young people and innocent people, and not only young people, innocent people are getting killed. We cannot go innocent people, and that's why if you want to talk about put Republican and Democrats, that's why a lot of Republicans now are speaking out, are coming on our side, because it's not about politics, it's about saving lives. And we have to understand that. Let's take our egos and take them and throw them out the window and think about the safety of our world, of our state, of our city.
How frustrating is it for you? And what do you see as something you can do, given the fact that, yes, many Republican voters support common sense gun laws, and the great majority of America wants waiting periods, wants to just eliminate these assault weapons? I think the ARs, I'm not a gun nut, I don't know the names of these different weapons, but AR-14 or whatever it is involved in so many murders. And most Americans are like, no, it's not for hunting. You don't take a friggin' machine gun out to shoot a deer. So how frustrating is it for you that the politicians aren't listening, aren't willing to save our children?
So let me say this. We vote, we the people, and I want people to understand this. We are the communities. We are the people that have to go to the voting poll and vote for these elected officials and legislators. If we begin to take a hard look and remember that our kids and our family members are dying, and the elected officials that we put in office to try to help with the safety and save lives, we need to vote them out. We vote them in, we need to take them out. And I want people to understand that it is our right to go to that poll and vote them out if they're not caring about our kids' safety, our family safety, if they're not voting the way they should for us. We put them in to take care of us, but I mean, lives are dropping. I mean, like you say, all over the world, the state. So the legislators, elected officials, Congress, on the federal level, on the state level, on the assembly level, do the right thing, or people go to the poll and vote them out. Vote them out. And it's two people, and I want people to hear this. And I'm sure they've heard me say this 1,000 times. Carl Hastie and Andrew Cousin Stewart should be ashamed of themselves, because they're holding up the bill, this bail reform. And I don't understand why they don't get it. Why can't you sign the bill for this bail reform when you know murders and rapists and robbers, and you killing and hurting and beating our seniors, and they're letting the same criminals out of jail with hardly no bail? I mean, it's in their hands. So sign the bill.
When that happens, when you see so-called, quote, liberal politicians who are voting to, as you put it, let out violent alleged offenders, because these are not folks, the bail goes to people who have been arrested for crimes but not convicted, but maybe it's somebody who's previously been convicted of an offense, and there's an eyewitness to a violent crime like a robbery, an armed robbery, a rape, something of that nature, and they're still getting bail. How does that hurt the, quote, progressive or liberal movement among working people? How do they react to that?
Well, right now they're reacting, enough is enough, they're saying. Put in a law, and it's all the legislators. We can't make a move without them. Put in a law that this is unacceptable. If you rape, rob, kill 3 and 4 times, you're doing the same thing as you let out. Unacceptable. And the world now, in the community, a lot of people are fed up. And that's why I say, if you go to the polls, please stop putting the same people in office. That's not helping us. And blood is on their hands because they have the power of the pen. And if we put that law into place, we got to follow the law like we follow others. Yes, some people break the law, but if it's a law actually on paper and we follow that law, it could be done. You have people that say how, oh well, it's because of the black and brown. They picking on the blacks and the blacks. No, no, no. The blacks are the one doing the crime. Then you got mass shootings everywhere, but I'm talking about locally right now. I'm talking about right now how in Harlem, in Manhattan, in Washington, all over Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Long Island now, everywhere, black on black crime. We are killing each other and we must stop.
How
We
painful
must
is
talk
that
to
for
our young
you?
folks.
How painful is that for you to see
It
that?
hurts every day. How I get so weak sometimes because I get so upset. But then I have to get my energy knowing that we have mothers out there in pain and need support. So I have to stay strong to let them know they're not alone. But it hurts every time. It does in different ways. So all I could do, Hal, and I'm glad you're doing the show, is to continue to put the message out there. Let's stop this violence. Let's take back our kids. Let's take back our community. Let's work with the police. Let's work with the mayor. Let's work with the legislation. And we can't drop the ball and we can't get relaxed when they say crime is down. Crime is not down. Okay. Crime comes
Well, I
down
think it's been
sometimes, but it
up
goes back
lately.
up.
COVID really because of COVID, actually rates went up quite a bit, I believe, Jackie. So you're
You
right
believe right.
there.
You believe
And
right.
the police have been better. I think policing has gotten better. So we've solved more
Yes,
crimes. The police are
absolutely.
doing, they're more professional. Let's put it that way. A couple of points I just want to make real quick. I know I'm very mindful of your time. I had said 1:30. I'd love to keep you a little longer if you can, but I started late, so that's totally on me. And folks, I do apologize for that. Jackie was here at 12:55,
So
and
let's keep it going.
I
Let's
was
keep it
fiddling
going for a
around
few
with my
minutes.
controls so you could hear us for one thing. I couldn't get it to work, and I've been trying so hard. So just a few things. I've been putting some slides up. Really haven't been addressing those. We know, and Jackie said this, smart laws work. Mike Thompson, he is a California Democratic congressman, has said, hey, we have the toughest laws in the country in California. And yes, we have mass shootings. It's the biggest state, it's bigger than most countries. And yet our gun violence is down. The problems that we have are twofold, and they track what Jackie said to a great degree. One is that we don't protect ourselves sufficiently from felons, domestic abusers, and people with mental health issues, which is exactly what you were saying when it comes to the bail issue. So that's one point. The other is that we can have the toughest gun laws in the world in a particular state like California, but if people can go to the next state over or a few states over and then just drive it in because we don't have a frontier with border police who are checking every car,
Absolutely.
then it doesn't really do any good. And I just last point on this, and we're going to show a chart. Where I notice this most is Chicago. Chicago is a very dangerous city. All large cities are dangerous. Chicago is particularly so. And part of that is, and let me see if I can get that slide up. I just want to show folks this. Let's see. If you look at the violence there, and let's see if we can get that. You see where Illinois is one of the more dangerous states, because the darker the red, the higher the crime violence. So it's fascinating. 2020 gun death rate. Okay, so 2020 gun death rate. If you look, California, who would have thought this? California, New York are among the lightest states, along with Minnesota, despite violent cities like LA, like New York City, like, Albany is a rough place. Yonkers is rough. Fresno. And it's not necessarily predominantly black cities or predominantly black areas. Yes, we do see a lot of crime in poor areas, and some of those are disproportionately African-American, but plenty of whiter states have very high crime rates. Look at Wyoming, for example, one of the top in the country. You also see those southern states, Louisiana, Mississippi, which have virtually no gun restrictions, as does Wyoming. all you have to do, you can see the Mississippi River there, is drive right up the highway. I think that's, I'm not sure if that's what it is, 35, 45, whatever it is that goes from New Orleans to Chicago, and you just take your guns right up. And that's why you see such high violence rates in that city.
So Hal, let me just say, I want to commend NYPD here in New York. Across the states, Jersey, you know, everybody's trying. But here in New York, our NYPD, they're doing a wonderful job. But it's not enough by themselves. So one of the things is I'm so scared for the police, because now how they are shooting our police. No respect at all. You remember back there where the two officers got killed, Mora and Rivera, right here in Harlem. They went to do their job, domestic violence, and never came out. So what I'm saying is how it's so out of control to the cops trying to do the best. And then again, the legislators are putting stipulations on the police. No, we don't want them acting like the Wild Wild West, but we want them to have control over these criminals. You know, now you can't even touch them or look at them correctly unless they holler police brutality. That must stop. So what I say to the parents, Hal, let's jump to the schools. Lately, you hear all these schools have shootings now and killings from our little kids. We're talking about 11, 12, 13-year-olds. Look at the 6-year-old that shot the teacher. So it starts from home. It starts from home, from family. How these kids getting these guns in their hands? So I say to the parents and the families, keep your kids engaged. If you have young kids that live with you, when they leave your house to go to school, check their book bags. Check their book bags. Know who they're hanging with. Know who their friends are. Check under your mattress. Check under their mattress, because they have this gun somewhere in the house. You have to make sure your kids know that you're checking on them, and talk to your kids. See what they got to say. The world have changed. Kids are different. And ever since the COVID play a big, huge part. How people are angry. People was cooped up in the house for a year or more, you know, so it play a bit different with that mental health, mental illness. And a lot of people don't want to believe they have mental illness. But when you start killing and shooting each other like this, that
you don't want to believe your child is.
They don't. They don't want to, but that's it. They don't. And this is what's happening. So you parents, you have to play more of a role with your kids. I know you have to work and you're not home a lot because you got to make a living, but you got to pay attention to your kids. Because that's what it's
Rowe, let me jump in real quick. Jackie Rowe-Adams with us from Harlem Mothers and Fathers SAVE, Stop Another Violent. And if you want to learn more about the organization, want to contribute, I certainly urge you to. It's all at our website. It's all at in the description of this video. So if you're watching the video, you can get to Harlem Mothers SAVE and Fathers SAVE simply by clicking on the link. Also, please click subscribe. Please click like this video if you like it. If you, look, I want you to click like, but what I really want you to do is click subscribe. You can hate the video, but just click subscribe. That'll help me out a little bit. Every little bit helps. And if we get to a certain number, YouTube will start sending me checks. So that would be kind of nice, because I'm never going to ask my viewers for any money. I won't do that. It's not right. But I don't feel for me, because I'm okay. But I do want, hey, I'd love to put a little something in my pocket for the time and effort and energy, which I love doing this, Jackie, but still it is time, effort, energy. It is work. No question about it.
I know. It's work just speaking. So I know.
It is. And that's what you're doing. So I have a question, because what you're saying, I mean, some of my viewers were very progressive. We're to the left. We're kind of the white liberals. Many of us are, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because I want a very diverse, broad audience. I want working class people. I want people of color. I want people who are white. I want older, younger. We're mostly older people who watch and who view. So I want broader people. And most of the folks I work with and talk to have bought into a significant degree the defund the police movement and I think Black Lives Matter has brought a lot of tremendously important issues to the table. But I think where they lose a little bit of support, even from people pretty far to the left, is when they have trouble acknowledging the value that having police has on a society. If you don't have the police, you have anarchy. The question is having better police who treat everyone with respect. Where I'm going with this ultimately is where we hear that police, and I think the evidence suggests, are least respectful, are most, and I've seen videos which are just heartbreaking to me, of big, beefy white cops mistreating, abusing people of color, and usually not always male people of color, men. And boys, not just, under 18, under 20. So not even men, young men, adolescents, boys even. So my question is, do the Harlem fathers feel as well disposed? And I'm not saying you only like the police, but to the extent that you have a positive view of them, and I do too, do the Harlem fathers also?
Well, the Harlem fathers it's half and half. But one of the things that keep the Harlem fathers going is safety. They want, because if something happened, who you going to call, Hal? You're going to dial 911. And so that you have to keep a positive attitude that it is some good police. It is good police out there. And look at Rivera and Mora. They come in and do their job and not beat up innocent kids or stop innocent people. But you have to have trust. So that's where the Harlem fathers come in, because they're sick of losing their kids. They're sick of losing their community. They watch the kids grow up. They're sick of innocent people getting killed. So yes, they believe in the police. They believe in the police more than they did before. But you got some knucklehead police that really have made it bad for our community. Now, what needs to happen, Hal? Something needs to be in place. Because if it was up to me, a lot of people say, oh, no, don't get no stop and frisk back because they only stop and frisk the Black people. Well, you know what? It have to be something put in place, because you know what's happening now? Black on Black crime is happening. And the Black people are carrying guns, okay? White people carrying guns too, but I'm talking about on the local level, okay? Kids have told me, the reason I'm carrying a gun because I'm scared, and then the police can't stop us no more. They can't stop and frisk. You don't have to call it stop and frisk, but something have to be put in place so these young people could know you just can't walk around carrying a gun to school and carrying guns here. Everybody have a gun now, Hal, because it's easy access. So what I'm saying is, it's a lot of young men that I did not imagine would agree with me on stop and frisk or stop, question and frisk or whatever, or stopping, for probable cause or bringing something into play, because they sick and tired of being sick and tired of their family members and kids getting killed. And now they're scared to walk down the street. Even though our mayor, our police department is doing the best they can, but we have to help them. So we don't want it. I'm so tired of them talking, and because of the Black, so you're going to let the Black people keep going to jail, coming out, raping and robbing and killing us? Unacceptable. I don't want to put race in there. What I want to put is safety. And what I want to put in there is the parents of the community going to have to do more than what they're doing. And yeah, some people sometimes don't like to hear that, but you have to hear it because it must stop. We got to save our kids.
Well, one of the areas where it's really sadly broken down largely along race lines, and I was going to play this video. I think I'll try to get it on if I can real quick. I know I want to be mindful of your time, but this is from the legislature in Tennessee, and they kicked out two African-American legislators who were, totally horrified and fed up with all the gun violence and specifically the murders in the school at Nashville, which is a dangerous city. 6 people killed, 3 kids.
Yes.
And so Justin Jones was kicked out and he was reinstated. And I watched this video, and one thing that troubled me as a white person for sure was how, and you'll see it, the white people in this video seem totally opposed to reinstating a pro-gun control, pro-sane law African-American into the legislature. I'm not going to call it racism. What I'm going to say is I think they're bought and paid for by the NRA, and they don't give a rat's fat ass about the lives of the people killed, many of whom are white, by the way, in these mass shootings.
Right.
So here we go.
But the thing is, that's why we as a race, everybody got to do better. We got to take, but it is racist is definitely in, you know.
So the video.
Representative Jones was honest about who he was, a bold and unapologetic advocate for the community. The people chose their representative. And with this vote, we will send a strong message to our state government and across the country that we will not tolerate threats to our democracy.
So that was great that they did that. And I wanted to stop the video for 1 second because do you see, Jackie? I think, well, you can't really see it there, but there's a woman in a white robe there. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah, I see the woman in white robe. She's applauding. I think you can see her. So that's actually my friend Zulfat Suara, and I'm trying to get her on this live stream. And I guess she wasn't available today. She hasn't gotten back to me. I was very late, but hopefully, and I just want to let folks know we can get Zulfat on next week. And she has been one of the staunchest fighters for protecting children in Tennessee.
And you know what, she is to be commended. And that's what we need. We need advocates in every state to save our children, to stop this violence. And, you know, if all the mayors come together and get on the right page, the same page, you know, we could do this because every state now is affected by this stuff. Every state is affected.
And
so that's my fight,
pal. And here's where I was talking about the white-black divide. You can see some of the white legislators over here, and they are not happy. They don't want to see Justin Jones reinstated. And that may in part be racism. I'm not going to say it isn't. But
it is racism. It's racism, and they need to take it out. It's racism. Racism is very clear, okay? It's bad. And we have to work with it, but we also have to stick together and fight it in the right way.
Well, whatever.
And we won. And we won.
I mean, they're voting. They're against saving children. They're against stopping another violent end. And again, I believe the victims there were mostly white kids. I'm not certain about that, but I may be wrong. But all of our children, no one's safe. Let me put it that way. And I don't get people
white, black, green, no one's safe.
And I worry about my wife. I'm playing around there. Let me stop that. Get this back here. I worry about my wife, Jackie, because she's a teacher. And she's, we're going to have more school shootings is what's going to happen.
Yes.
And she's an elementary school's teacher, and they're not safe either.
This is why these laws have to be passed out.
I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. I know you're busy. I'm mindful of that. I just appreciate all the time you could give us.
You know, I appreciate you too, Hal, and I appreciate your wonderful sister, Carolyn, your family. I appreciate this, and I want the message to get out. I hope people respond. I really do. I don't know. Are you getting anything in? Do people respond now?
Well, we had one video with well over 1,000 views, which is very good, and one well over 100, which is okay. But we're building, and you can help us with that. I would say share this with all your team and with anyone you're trying to reach out to, because you know, it was a good give and take, and I think you presented very, very well. And as you always do. And I think it's very nice to also have the video. I think that makes a difference. We're very visual people. And I showed I don't know if you saw what I had used as a promotional with your image. and it said, none of us, nobody is safe. And I showed that to a young man yesterday, and he was like, wow, I would watch that, So I think that the issue is getting this out, is getting more and more people to see it.
Getting more and more people see it, and I will share it. So all they have to do is go on. I'm not computer savvy, so all they have to do is go on YouTube.
Yeah, I sent you the link yesterday, so you can
Very
click
good.
on it and have Joyce or Madeline, if you'd rather, call me or email me, and I'll give them the link again.
Very good. Thank you, Hal. Have a blessed, safe day, and keep up the good work. And I will let my people know.
All right.
Okay.
All the very best to you, my very close friend,
Thank
Jackie,
you.
and keep up the great work. And let's hope someday soon you won't need to do it.
Ah, thank you. Thank you.
You take care.
Okay.
So we'll let Jackie go at this point. I'm going to see if I can. We'll probably get some weirdness here with the transitioning, and always have all sorts of weird stuff going on. So let's see if we
I
can
could
do that.
leave
I
the
can't
call.
see if I
Okay.
can have Jackie go, because I'm trying to just see myself. Well, there's just me, mostly just me, as we struggle here with the tech. And I'm going to move on to the Ukraine. That's going to be my next topic. So we'll get there in just a moment.
I pressed leave. I don't know why
I'm
leave,
gonna kick you out. I'm gonna kick you right out, Jackie. I'm having a little trouble because I got to go into the Zoom here, and folks will of course be very it doesn't want to let me do that. I guess I got to go into a different place. Remove. All right, so she's out. I'm in. This is just how we'll see if I can get me full screen. As you all are like, wow, I guess the rehearsal, as the old ball coach would say, is going beautifully. Thank you, Hal. There we go. Look at that. It's working. Amazing. So I want to get into Ukraine just briefly because the latest revelations, we do have the leaks, right? I mean, that's a big deal. And at first I was skeptical. I thought this is a planned leak. The Pentagon wants everyone to be afraid that Ukraine could lose. We need to spend more money. We need to do more. We need to keep the killing going. I think that was my biggest takeaway when I first learned of the leak. But I think now we've got to get to that point where we recognize, no, the leak is legit. They really, there's real, they're there. Those documents do, in fact, tell us what is going on in Ukraine right now. And what it is very, very instructive. And I promise you get everything to look just like it should. We fight here a little bit, but we'll get that to look just the way it should. It's really interesting. It's really very, very important that we focus on what we're learning from those leaks, because otherwise we're at the complete mercy of what the Pentagon wants us to know. We're at the mercy of what the corporate media wants us to know. And so often it's inaccurate. So often it's not trustworthy. So often it's simply a lie. So right now up until very recently, the US has denied any real military presence by NATO or the West in Ukraine, that it's simply a Ukraine versus Russia war that Ukraine's doing really well. Back in November, and you can see now that Paul Zapula posted, the Pentagon just confirmed U.S. boots on the ground in Ukraine. Joe Biden is risking American lives. That is what Zapula is saying, and we got to get rid of him for doing that. And this was subject to Reuters fact check. So Reuters says, no, not so fast, Zapula. U.S. military personnel may be in the country, maybe in Ukraine, but they're just inspecting weapons delivery. And by the way, they need to inspect those weapons deliveries because so many weapons have been lost, right? I mean, the Pentagon's lost what, billions? I think billions of dollars of materiel has been lost by the Pentagon. So it's perfectly sensible that they're keeping track of weapons deliveries. There's no combat, no proof of combat forces in Ukraine. The Russians are struggling because they're not a good army, and the Ukrainians are tough, and we love Ukraine, and they're just great, we just need to keep providing them with military support. American lives are not at risk. That is the message that we keep hearing, that we have heard back since last year. And now we know it's not true. It's just not the case. We have the actual documentation that, and here's from the BBC, the UK, along with the United States, is among a number of countries with military special forces operating inside Ukraine. US has 14. The numbers may be small, but they're by their very nature highly effective. Now, maybe they're just there because we heard, right? We just heard it's they're there to inspect weapons delivery. They're there to inspect the deliveries. They're not there to fight, to kill or be killed, except according to the BBC, these forces are highly effective. They're elite military units. So we're right now basically involved in a hot war with Russia. It's not a lot of our troops. It's, according to the documents on March 23rd, only 14. But when you add up Latvia, France, Netherlands, and the UK has 50. It's what, over 100. And you can get why maybe Russia wasn't so thrilled with the idea of Ukraine becoming part of NATO. Maybe they had a legitimate beef. Maybe Putin's fears weren't totally groundless. How does the media react to this? Now, I would think, you would think, one would think, well, they're glad, right? They want leaks. They want to be able to tell us the truth about what's happening in Ukraine. They want to not get it wrong, because they sure as heck got it wrong before. They said, oh no, they're just there to inspect weapons deliveries, right? Well, that wasn't the case. And I'm sure the media is embarrassed. They got egg on their face. So they like getting things correct, you'd think. So how are they reacting? Well, not so well. Their reaction isn't, oh, this is really great. Now we can tell you the truth. We appreciate the leaks. No, these leaked documents are different. They're particularly damaging, according to the New York Times. According to the Washington Post, now our nation's secrets are at risk, and that's by the editorial board. So rather than do good journalism, which is report to us what our military is doing, what our president's doing, how they're lying to us and telling us, oh, we're just there to keep an eye on our weapon deliveries. No, we're actually there providing military support and presumably engaging with Russia militarily in hot conflict. And I just would throw this at you. So those are military special forces like the Navy SEALs, like the Army Rangers, like the 101st Airborne in the Marines. Those are the kind of people who blow up pipelines. We are moving towards World War III. And I hope you're not simply going to accept what the New York Times and the Washington Post and MSNBC and CNN tell you about why we need to be engaged against the evil Putin, against the I guess it's either he or Trump are the two most dangerous people in the world. Well, if we are fighting a hot war with Russia, does that kind of make us that dangerous as well? And there's particularly damaging. What's damaging? We aren't, it's on the other side of the world. Our interests are not at stake in any real way in Ukraine. And it's, by the way, it's not just the New York Times and the Washington Post that are, these are particularly damaging, our secrets are at risk. Not at all. Other outlets where you might hope could be slightly more progressive, maybe take a little bit of with a little bit of a jaundiced eye at the claims coming from the media, coming from the government, from our government, like maybe, I don't know, the Guardian, the UK Guardian, the Manchester Guardian, which was named after the city where the UK trade union movement was most powerful. How much damage will those cause? These leaks could help Moscow and prompt friction with Washington allies. Why? Because now we know that we have our troops on the ground killing and being killed in Ukraine. Maybe the real question you should ask is, why are they there? Maybe the real question you should ask is this really making us safer or less safe? And Al Jazeera, the voice of the Arab world, how are they on the side of the US government, the Pentagon? But they're just faithfully stenographing. Embarrassing. The leak could damage US security. How? There's no way. We're fighting on the other side of the world against a very weak foe that we shouldn't even be engaging with. The only danger is a hot war, a nuclear war, which could happen because we're there. Not because there are secrets being leaked, but because we're actually there. But that's not what Al Jazeera tell you. That's not what the Guardian tells you. Honestly, look, we've got violence at home. We talked about with Jackie Rowe-Adams, and we're responsible, we're culpable for violence around the world. So that's going to do it for me. Have a great Friday afternoon and a great weekend. I'll be back Monday. We've got some awesome guests coming up in the coming weeks. Don't forget, like and subscribe.